Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The 2 points that we have considered so far, the first one was that the sentence is not just a string of words, it's a structure. And the second one is that we can identify the constituents or the self-contained units within the sentence that we call constituents using tests such as substitution, displacement, ellipsis, the WH word formation. For today, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to look at how we can use another diagnostic, another test to prove that a certain group of words is genuine constituent. The test that we'd like to consider today is called Clifton. What is Clifton? Let me just give you an example of a Clift sentence. So first of all, Clifton is a way of laying emphasis on one part of the sentence just to foreground it, to promote it, to foreground it as new information. Take the following example. When I say it was your car that John drove to work today, I imply that you know that John drove to work today, but you don't know which car he used. Okay, so what I'm telling you by this sentence is that it was your car that he used. So the new information for you is that it is your car. The old information for you, what you already know, is that John drove to work today. But what we don't know is which vehicle he used. Now I'm telling you, this is the new information for you. It's your car. So in terms of form, the Clift sentence starts with an it followed by the verb to be in the tense of the sentence. Your car is new information, and that John drove to work today is old information. So the Clift sentence is basically a new information followed by a new information item followed by an old information item. The new information item is the focus of the sentence. We also call it the focused phrase, or the focused noun phrase, or the focused prepositional phrase, etc. And then we have the old information, which is expressed by a clause. And the clause in this case is that John drove to work today. Again, in terms of form, Clift sentence consists of a pronoun that doesn't mean anything. It's there just for syntactic reasons. We call it an expletive pronoun, or a dummy pronoun, or a pleonastic pronoun. It's there just, to satisfy some structural considerations in the sentence, followed by the verb to be in the tense of the sentence. This is basically what we call a Clift sentence. Clift sentence. The process of placing your car in that position between the expletive and the verb to be on the one hand and the clause on the other hand, this process is called Clifting. Now, compare this sentence with, this is a Clift sentence. Now, let us compare this Clift sentence with its canonical counterpart, with its flat counterpart, which is John drove your car to work. So in this sentence, we have no Clifting. What is the part of this sentence which is Clifted? In the Clift sentence, in it was your car that John drove to work today. What is the part of the sentence which is Clifted? Yes, the part of it which is Clifted is your car. Because we can Clift your car, we conclude that your car is a constituent. The assumption is that only constituents can be Clifted. Only constituents can be Clifted. So we know that your car is a constituent because it can be replaced by a Prof form, because it can be deleted, because it can be, we can ask a WH question about it, because, but also because we can Clift it. So your car is Clifted, so it's a constituent. The point is that only constituents can be Clifted. So Clifting can be used as a diagnostic for constituency. Okay, let us go back to our model sentence, which is this one. The customer in the corner will order the drinks before the meal. I will give you sentences in which some parts of the sentence are Clifted, and you tell me which parts are Clifted exactly. Take the following sentence. It's the customer in the corner who will order the drinks before the meal. So tell me, which part of the sentence is Clifted? Yeah, I made it easy for you by using the blue color. The customer in the corner is the part of the sentence which is clifted. How do we know? It's preceded by an expletive pronoun, which is it, followed by the verb to be, and followed by who will order the drinks before the meal, which is a clause. Because we can place it in this position as new information, as a foregrounded information, then the customer in the corner must be a constituent. The customer in the corner can be clifted, so it's a constituent. The customer in the corner is a constituent. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, that we have already shown that the customer in the corner is a constituent using other diagnostics such as substitution. If you remember, we used he, and we asked a question about that using the WH word who, if you remember. Now we are using another diagnostic, which is that of Clifton, to prove again, to give some more evidence that the customer in the corner is a constituent. How about this sentence? Sentence number 2. It is before the meal that the customer in the corner will order the meal, will order the drinks. It's before the meal that the customer in the corner will order the drinks. Okay? Before the meal can be clifted. How do we know that it can be clifted? Because it's placed between the expletive pronoun it, followed by the verb to be, and before the meal is followed by the clause that the customer in the corner will order the drinks. So it's clifted. Before the meal is the new information that we give to the reader or to the hearer. We assume that he or she already knows that the customer in the corner will order the drinks, but he or she doesn't know that it's before the meal that he will do so. So before the meal is a clifted group of words. Because it can be clifted, then it's a constituent. So this is it. Before the meal is another constituent. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, that we can use other tests such as substitution to show that before the meal is a constituent, and we have already used it when we replaced it with the Prof form later. Okay? How about this one? It is the drinks that the customer in the corner will order. It is the drinks that the customer in the corner will order. Okay? The drinks is itself a constituent. How do we know it's a constituent? Because it can be preceded by the expletive pronoun it, followed by the verb to be, and the drinks itself is followed by the clause that the customer in the corner will order. So the drinks is clifted. It's clifted also because it's new information for the person who is reading the sentence or listening to it. Okay, the drinks is a constituent. So I bracket it. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, that we have already used other tests to show that the drinks is a constituent, including substitution and WH word formation. So the customer in the corner can be clifted, so it's a constituent. Before the meal can be clifted, so it's a constituent. The drinks can be clifted, so it's a constituent. That's it then. The rule is, if you can clift a group of words, then it must be a constituent. That's the rule. Okay? Okay, now one of the facts about standard English is that clifting cannot affect VP. This is another way of saying that VP's verb phrases cannot be clifted. They cannot be clifted in in standard English, but they can be clifted in other dialects of the English language. But what I would like to say now is that although VPs cannot be affected by clifting, they can be affected by another operation that we call pseudo-clifting. Pseudo-clifting. Please remember, this is not pseudo-clifting, this is pseudo-clifting. What is pseudo-clifting? Pseudo-clifting can be exemplified by sentences such as the following. Okay, let us read sentences A and B. I don't need the equivalent of another car loan. I don't need the equivalent of another car loan. Another way of saying the same thing is, what I don't need is the equivalent of another car loan. So what I mean by this sentence, what I imply by this sentence is that I know that I don't need something, but you don't know what I don't need. Now I'm telling you, what I don't need is, so this is the new information for you, what I don't need is the equivalent of another car loan. This means that the equivalent of another car loan is pseudo-clifted. In pseudo-clifting, we use the expression what at the beginning of the sentence. What I want to do, what I'm thinking about, what what I want you to give me, what I want you to do for me, what I can't stand. So what follows this expression, this what expression, is what we call the pseudo-clifted constituent. And any group of words that can be pseudo-clifted is a constituent. So the conclusion we'd like to draw from this is that the equivalent of another car loan is a constituent. How do we know it's a constituent? Because it can be pseudo-clifted. And it is the case that what is being pseudo-clifted in this case is a noun phrase, the equivalent of another car loan. Here's another example for you. You are saying the biblical law of reciprocity in Prince George's country. You are saying the biblical law of reciprocity in Prince George's country. What you are saying in Prince George's country is the biblical law of reciprocity. So what is pseudo-clifted in this case? If your sentence is the biblical law of reciprocity, then your answer is correct. This is the new information. This is the part of the sentence which follows the what expression. What you are saying in Prince George's country is, what is it? The biblical law of reciprocity. And as you can see, the pseudo-clifted part of the sentence in this case is a noun phrase again. Okay, so this is what we call pseudo-clifting. Pseudo-clifting starts with a what phrase. Clifting starts with an it plus verb to be phrase. Pseudo-clifting starts with a what phrase. Okay, and we have the new information or the promoted information at the end of the sentence following the verb to be. Okay, is the biblical law of reciprocity. Some more examples. Okay, look at this example here. She needed someone to talk to. She needed someone to talk to. What she needed was someone to talk to. What she needed was someone to talk to. Can you guess what is the part of the sentence which is pseudo-clifted? In what she needed was someone to talk to. If your answer is someone to talk to, then congratulations. Your answer is correct. Okay? Someone to talk to is a noun phrase, as you can see. Someone to talk to. Yeah. That's an NP and it's pseudo-clifted. Because it's pseudo-clifted, then it must be a constituent. How about the second sentence? Please stop this video and try to reflect, to read the two sentences, A and B, these ones. You read them reflexively and tell me what is the part of the sentence which is pseudo-clifted. Well, if your answer is this, they will force them underground. They will force them underground. The part of the sentence which is pseudo-clifted in the second one, what they will do is force them underground. What they will do is, this is the what phrase, what they will do is force them underground. So it's force them underground, which is pseudo-clifted. Now, what's the nature of this group of words? Because it's clifted, because it's pseudo-clifted, then it must be a constituent. But what's the nature of this constituent? If your answer is a VP, then it's correct. How do we know it's a VP? Because it starts with a verb plus something. The VP is always a verb plus something else, okay? So it's a VP. That's why I told you, ladies and gentlemen, that even if VPs cannot be clifted, they can be pseudo-clifted. And here is one example, okay, in which the VP is pseudo-clifted. What they will do is force them underground. The VP does not include the auxiliary. Look at the sentence. What they will do is force them underground. So the VP, which is pseudo-clifted, is independent from the auxiliary will. Do you remember, ladies and gentlemen, when I told you that the auxiliary is always independent from the VP in the English language? We have already used ellipsis to show that this is the case, and now we are using pseudo-clifting to show that the auxiliary is independent from the VP. Do you remember these two sentences? Do you remember when I asked you what is the right tree diagram? Is it the left one or the right one? The answer must be it's the right one. And it's the right one because in the right tree diagram, the auxiliary is independent from the VP. Here is the VP and here is the auxiliary, which is independent from it. In the left tree diagram, the auxiliary is a part of the VP, and this is incorrect. We have already used diagnostics such as ellipsis and pseudo-Clifton to show that the auxiliary is independent from the VP. Which constituent is focused on in the following examples? I will give you examples and tell me which part of the sentence is pseudo-Clifton. Contacting his relatives will cause mayhem in his family. The pseudo-Clifton counterpart of the sentence is what contracting his relatives will do. So I'm sorry, the verb is contacting, not contracting. What contacting his relatives will do is cause mayhem in his family. Which part of the sentence is pseudo-Clifton? If your answer is cause mayhem in his family, then your answer is correct. Cause mayhem in his family is the pseudo-Clifton part. Because cause mayhem in his family is pseudo-Clifton, then it must be a constituent. But what is the nature of this constituent? Yes, it's a VP. We know it's a VP because it's introduced with a verb, which is the verb to cause. That's it. The verb plus something else. That's a VP. How about this sentence? Again, look at this. What contacting his relatives will do is cause mayhem in his family. Cause mayhem in his family is the VP. And look at the auxiliary. Again, it's independent. What contacting his relatives will do. First, will is independent from the VP, which is cause mayhem in his family. Again, the right one is the right one. The right tree diagram is the one in which the auxiliary is independent from the VP. Now, I will give you now 3 sentences. One of them, which is the third one, is ungrammatical. And I would like you to explain to me why it is ungrammatical. If you remember, ladies and gentlemen, at the beginning of the course, I promised something, which is this. When you study syntax, when you study this syntactic analysis course, you will be able to say why certain sentences are grammatical in English while others are ungrammatical. You will be able to say consciously, not just intuitively, but you will not only tell me, I feel that this sentence is ungrammatical, but I don't know why. You will be able to explain why certain sentences are ungrammatical while others are grammatical. And now we will start doing this beginning from this point. What I'm doing here is that I'm giving you 3 sentences. First one is correct, is grammatical. The second one is grammatical. The third one is not grammatical. Why? Why is it ungrammatical? You will be able to tell me now. Let us read the first one. What the customer in the corner will do before the meal is order the drinks. Aha! Tell me, what is the part of the sentence which is pseudo-Clifton? Because this is a pseudo-Clift. It starts with the what phrase, okay? And then we have the verb to be, which is followed by something. So this is a pseudo-Clift. What is the part of the sentence which is pseudo-Clifted? If your answer is order the drinks, then your answer is correct. Order the drinks is the part of the sentence which is pseudo-Clifted. What is the nature of this constituent which is pseudo-Clifted here? Order the drinks. If your answer is a VP, then it's correct. But there is something to it that I would like you to add. Okay, not just VP, but I would like you to qualify which type of VP. Now, let us read the second sentence. What the customer in the corner will do is order the drinks before the meal. So what is the part of the sentence which is pseudo-Clifted? Aha, yes, it's order the drinks before the meal. Again, this is a constituent. How do we know it's a constituent? Because we can pseudo-Clift it. It is pseudo-Clifted. Which type of constituent is it? It's a VP. Now, what is the difference between this VP, which is order the drinks before the meal, and just order the drinks? What is the difference between them? Yeah? Yes. If what you say is that the difference between them is that order the drinks is a core VP, while order the drinks before the meal is an augmented VP, then congratulations. That's it. And you can see, ladies and gentlemen, but that both of them can be pseudo-clifted, which means that each one of them is a constituent on its own. And this is what I have been telling you when I was trying to make it clear for you guys that within the VP we have two layers. The small layer, what we call the core VP, consisting of the verb plus the object, and the bigger one, the extended one, that we call an augmented VP, consisting of the verb plus the object plus something else, which is the adjunct. Okay, if you remember my garage metaphor, that's it again. We are using again the pseudo-clifting to show the same thing, to prove the same thing, namely that within the VP we have two layers, the small one and the big one, the core VP and the extended VP, or the augmented VP. How about sentence number 3? What is the part of this sentence which is pseudo-clifted? What the customer in the corner will do is will order the drinks before the meal. This sentence is ungrammatical in standard English. Why? Look at the part of the sentence which is pseudo-clifted. Will order the drinks before the meal. What's wrong with this? What we are pseudo-clifting is will plus order the drinks before the meal, which is an augmented VP. The auxiliary plus the VP. We have already proven that the auxiliary is independent from the VP. But what we have here is that we bring them together as if they were the same constituent, which they are not. Will is one constituent and the VP is a different constituent, and they cannot be pseudo-clifted together because they are not the same constituent, they are different constituents. This is why this sentence is ungrammatical. It's ungrammatical because we are pseudo-clifting a group of words which is not a constituent. What we have here is two distinct constituents. That's it then. If this is your answer, this means that you have already started explaining why some sentences in English are ungrammatical while others, like 1 and 2, are grammatical. Good job. So this is the structure of sentence number 3. In the VP, we include the auxiliary in the VP, and this is incorrect. This cannot be done in the English language. Again, I mean, the right sentence, the right tree diagram is the one to the right. The right one is the right one. Identify the pseudo-clifted constituents in the following examples. Okay? I'm giving you sentences and I would like you to identify the pseudo-clifted parts, which are constituents. In the lower 48 states, people consider the deer as pets. So the last thing they would do is eat them. What is the part of the sentence which is pseudo-clifted? If your answer is eat them, then your answer is correct. Yeah, eat them. Eat them is a VP. You see, we said that the VP cannot be clifted, but it can be pseudo-clifted. And here is another example in which the VP is pseudo-clifted. How about sentence number 2? All Pastor Edgar Chacon wanted to do, he says now, was protect the children. Which part of the sentence is pseudo-clifted? If your answer is protect the children, then it's correct again. How do we know? We know because we know that it's the VP because it's introduced with the verb protect. Protect the children is the VP, which is pseudo-clifted. How about this one, sentence number 3? All we can do is do it well. All we can do is do it well. All we can do is do it well. Which part is pseudo-clifted? Do it well. Very good. Yes, do it well is a VP again, and it's pseudo-clifted. So you see, ladies and gentlemen, the rule is if you can pseudo-clift a certain group of words within the sentence, then that group of words is a constituent. The VP can be pseudo-clifted. It cannot be clifted in standard English, but it can be pseudo-clifted. Now, coordination. Coordination is the easiest test to understand. Okay? Coordination simply means if we know that a certain group of words is a constituent and we coordinate it with another group of words, then the second group of words must be a constituent too. It's also a constituent. Here are some examples. Take our model sentence. The customer in the corner will order the drinks and the dessert before the meal. The customer in the corner will order the drinks and the dessert before the meal. What are the two parts of this sentence that are coordinated by the coordinating conjunction and? Remember that we have the coordinating conjunctions we have in English are summarized, are abbreviated as fanboys, and you know them. For and so, etc. Okay, or etc. Okay. So here we have the coordinating conjunction and. What does it coordinate? Yes, it coordinates the drinks and the dessert Okay. So because we already know that the drinks is a constituent, the dessert must be a constituent too. The rule is if a group of words is coordinated with the constituent, then it must be a constituent too, just like the constituent with which it is coordinated. Now, I will give you some examples and you tell me which constituents are coordinated in the examples I'm giving you. Then you identify the category of each one of them. You tell me if the category is NP or VP or a clause or something else. How about this one? I will give you two sentences, okay? Two sentences. Many parents with children in these schools have felt the impact and seen the point. What are the coordinated parts in this sentence? The coordinated groups of words in this sentence? If your answer, they have felt the impact, seen the point, then your answer is correct. And the coordinated conjunction we use is and. Yes, great. Felt the impact, seen the point, both of them are VPs. Did you notice something? Have is an auxiliary and it's independent from both of them. Okay? We have one auxiliary and two VPs, which means that the auxiliary is independent from both of them, from felt the impact and from seeing the point. Okay, so we have two coordinated VPs, so each one of the two groups must be a constituent. How about the second one? Jones said urban sprawl and heightened environmental concerns were imposing increased limits on US military activities in Western Europe and driving up costs. So what are the parts of this sentence that are coordinated? Yes, imposing increased limits on US military activities in Western Europe, that's the first one. Driving up costs, that's the second one. Each one of them is a VP on its own. How do we know it's a VP? The first one is a VP which is introduced with the verb imposing. The second one is a VP introduced with the verb driving. Look at where the auxiliary is independent from both of them again. Amber, the auxiliary is independent from the VP. It is not a part of the VP. Some more examples. I'm giving you two examples. What are the coordinated constituents in them? Being in Europe does not tend to mean that public transport is functional, that public health care is not considered a dangerous pipe dream, and that education is valued. What are the three parts that are coordinated in this sentence? Stop the video and give yourself some time to think about what is being coordinated in this sentence. If your answer is that public transport is functional, that's the first one. That public health care is not considered a dangerous pipe dream, that's the second one. That education is valued, that's the third one. I'm using three colors just to distinguish the three parts that are coordinated. Because that public transport is functional can be coordinated with that public health care is not considered a dangerous pipe dream, can be coordinated with that education is valued. So the three groups of words are constituents. What is the nature? What is the category of each one of them? Yes, each one of them is a clause. This is a that clause. That clause because it's introduced with a that. Yeah, so that clauses are constituents. How do we know they are constituents? Because they can be coordinated. The coordinated conjunction we are using now is and. How about sentence number 2? Among the larger issues here are why this happened at all, who allowed it to happen, and why the law reinforcement refused to intervene even after it was clear that a great injustice was occurring. So what are the three parts again that are coordinated in this case? Stop the video and give it some thought. Okay, what are they? Yes, if your answer, the three parts that are coordinated are why this happened at all. The second one, who allowed it to happen. The third one, why the law reinforcement refused to intervene even after it was clear that a great injustice was occurring. Then your answer is correct. Congratulations again. I'm using three colors just to make it clear how what we have here is in fact three different groups of words that are coordinated using the coordinating conjunction and. Yet, you know that in the English language we prefer not to repeat the coordinating conjunction and. We use it just once, but it should be clear for you that this and is here and is here as well. But I mean, we tend to use only one coordinating conjunction to avoid repetition in coordination in the English language. Yes, again, so what we have here is three groups of words that are coordinated. Which category are they? Yes, they are clauses, but this time we have clauses with WH words. Why, who, and why. Yes. So in the first sentence we have three clauses, three that clauses. Here we have three interrogative clauses. Interrogative clauses. So that clauses are constituent. Interrogative clauses are also constituent. Let me just sum it up. What we have seen so far, some strings of words are constituents, and we use the following test to show that they are constituents. We use substitution, displacement, question formation, clifton, ellipsis, and coordination. 6 tests can be used to show that certain strings or groups of words are constituent. In my next lecture, ladies and gentlemen, I will talk about specific constituents within the sentence, such as what we call adjuncts, what we call specifiers and complements. So, see you in my next lecture. Bye.